Hey, Joe White here on virtual land here with who is this that we're with here today? A surprise co-host returnee.
Yeah, that would be me, Katy
Wow,
Shander Reynolds.
basically what it takes is a major world crisis for you to turn back to do anything related to ACT or Behind the Curtain. By the way, just let you know, this is
Well, that's
Behind the
sort of a
Curtain episode
coincidence,
55.
but sure, yeah, we'll go with that.
Well, it is great to have you back, and wanted to say hello to everybody out in the audience and hope everybody is well and safe and stays inside for as long as we possibly need to stay inside to keep this thing at bay. But uh, trying to stay away from that and trying to entertain the audience today a little bit, and wanted to talk about some of the things we've been doing, I've been doing late at night
Without
after
leaving the
the long,
house.
long day works without leaving the house. True. Is since unfortunately with all the stuff that's going on, we could not have a March Madness. Could not have the
We had a
brackets.
different kind of March Madness, Joe.
True. We did not have
It was a very mad
basketball.
March,
We
but
did not
not in
have
the
a
way we had
yeah,
hoped.
we did not have a basketball Sweet 64 tournament that
We did not.
people would watch for weeks and weeks on end, and then this weekend would have been, I think, the finals. So we didn't have that. And also, we couldn't get to go to movies. We couldn't go out to movies into a movie
Nope.
theater and have popcorn and sit with people next to each other and share the popcorn. We couldn't do any of that. So
You gonna introduce BB?
BB is
BB wants to be on the show.
BB, which we have all known just before pre-production meetings, is B.B and named after BB King or BB Newirth or Black Beauty or all the above.
Named after Black Beauty because my daughter really wanted a horse.
Yeah, my daughter's always wanted a horse. I want.
Yeah.
I'm gonna maybe just get a horse farm and retire there and just
There you
stay
go.
with
There
just
you
the
go.
horses, nobody else. But anyway, so we back to BB. If you more than welcome to join us at any time in any
She'll
moment.
just pop in and out as she pleases. That's what cats do.
Well,
So.
you know what? If she was one of the voters for the movies, that would be excellent. So what we ended up doing to kill some time and keep people interested, create a bracket of 64 movies in which we had around 40 plus people voting on what their favorite was, very similar to the brackets in basketball. Hey, BB. And so what I wanted to do is to kind of say that the methodology behind it was originally started as I didn't want to just pick 64 of the highest ranked movies ever, like Godfather and Citizen Kane, all the big ones like that, like the American Film Institute would rank as the top 100 or so. I went with a little different approach on it and looked at genres or greatest filmmakers or perceived to be greatest filmmakers and paired their movies against each other. And then we merged them all together and said, how does those movies beat against each other? So when we look at the first bracket, I don't know if you have your up, it's up there, but
I do.
we look at Martin Scorsese. We took Wolf of Wall Street against Casino. We had the Mel Brooks section, which we had High Anxiety Against History of the World Part 1. Chevy Chase. Caddyshack versus Fletch. Now, I had some comments from people telling me that Caddyshack's a great movie, but we don't think it's a Chevy Chase movie. People think it's that he was in the movie. There was a lot of other people in it. They considered it an ensemble cast, but I chose that one anyway because they weren't up for
You were in charge.
doing this. Pretty much. That's how it went. And I said, and I actually got angry. Some people said, if you really want a different bracket, I've been doing this. Then we had the Frank Capra bracket, which was It's a Wonderful Life going against Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. John Hughes, which was Pretty in Pink versus The Breakfast Club. And then and then we had the Ford John Ford with Quiet Man versus The Grapes of Wrath. Quentin Tarantino, we had Pulp Fiction versus Inglourious Basterds.
Oof.
Woody Allen 2, and you notice Woody Allen 2, that means there's multiple Woody Allens in this. And we have Annie Hall against Manhattan Murder Mystery.
So I'm just wondering how come Woody Allen 2 came before Woody Allen 1?
Once again, another critique comes from people who were not part of this process. Well, I tried to kind of move them around, and I was cutting and pasting, and you're absolutely right. If I were to do this again, I would have put Woody Allen a little bit different. But thanks for pointing that out to me.
No problem.
Missed that
I'm
working.
the editor, remember?
Missed that very much working with you, and maybe BB can take over from here.
She does have a lot to say.
All right, you want to read the second section, the second group?
Sure.
All right.
So, second section, we had bloody movies with Halloween going up against Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had a Tim Burton section with Edward Scissorhands off against Beetlejuice. Marvel Comics put up Iron Man and Captain America. Roman Polanski, we had Chinatown versus Rosemary's Baby.
Mm-hmm.
Followed by the first Spielberg category with Jaws up against Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And now my mouse is doing something strange. Maybe it's afraid of the cat. We had Kubrick, Clockwork Orange up against The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
Hitchcock with Psycho versus The Birds. And Denzel with Glory against Training Day.
Awesome. So that's the first section, 2 sections there. And then the third section I'll go through, we had a Robin Williams section that had Good Will Hunting versus Dead Poet Society. The Tom Hanks section was Forrest Gump against Philadelphia. Martin Scorsese 2, in its right place, because we had a Martin Scorsese before, so Alan 1, you can make that observation. It was Goodfellas. Do I make you laugh? Am I funny?
You are. You're a funny guy, Joe.
Versus The Departed. Mel Brooks 2, Young Frankenstein versus Blazing Saddles. Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry versus The Good, The Bad, and the Ugly. Bill Murray was Stripes versus Groundhog Day. John Hughes 2, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Bueller, and versus Home Alone. And then Quentin Tarantino 2, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood versus Kill Bill Volume 1. Mm-hmm. Now we still have another 16 to go. And can you want to go through that grouping? And then we'll announce the winners for each. Well, we'll talk about the grouping.
Sure, except I lost my place, Joe.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be the Scarface Carey. Brian
there it is.
Palmer
There it
section.
is. Hold on. I'm having some technical difficulties. I'm trying to work with 2 computers here.
Okay. Oh, wait, I can sing.
Maybe you could sing a little song while I'm doing this.
What was the theme from Scarface?
That I have no idea.
We should look that up. Somebody go out there and Google it. Wait.
All right. So what am I looking at? Where am I starting here,
the section that starts with Brian De Palma.
Scarface up against Carey. Then we have Woody Allen again with Manhattan and Sleeper, followed by 2 Morgan Freeman classics, Million Dollar Baby and Shawshank Redemption. Mm. After that, we have Dustin Hoffman in for Rain Man and Midnight Cowboy.
Amen. Amen. Number 30.
Then we have a second section of bloody movies with Friday the 13th and Saw. Hmm. And then another Marvel face-off with Spider-Man being the Tobey Maguire version and Thor. Then we have Spielberg back with E.T. and Raiders of the Lost Ark. And Hitchcock returns with Vertigo and North by Northwest.
What a wonderful group. So you see the methodology there. It wasn't Godfather versus Citizen Kane. We're kind of picking the great filmmakers of our time.
And actors.
And I've asked the people to participate, and I've asked them a bunch of questions. And there's some comments and quotes here from people that will remain anonymous that we'll mention them throughout the show. But a couple of things that people said before we get started, people have gone through this probably for about 2 weeks now. Mm-hmm. They're sending notes out, said you got a couple of days. These you got a little bit more time to do, right? So people went out and they went and voted and they came back. Is there anything in this grouping here that you think is missing? Like, is there any great filmmaker that you would have said, oh, I don't know why that wasn't included?
I'm wondering why there weren't any musicals.
Now, do they do musicals in film?
Well, I guess that explains why, Joe.
Oh, okay. Good question. But no, when you said, so who would be a filmmaker that had musicals?
Well, let me think. These weren't all filmmakers, Joe. You had actors in here too.
True. Okay, give me.
You could have gone with like a Fred Astaire.
Yes. Yeah.
Or a Gene Kelly.
Yeah. Or could have done Grease.
You could have, you could have
Grease,
done,
Grease versus.
that went on,
would you Grease
or came from Broadway.
Grease versus Cats.
There you go.
Doing there.
A chorus line.
Any of the 64? Oh, chorus line. Chicago. Oh my God, we could do a whole nother 64.
You see what I'm saying, Joe?
So of these 64, you know,
Mhm.
I know you know the winner. I
I
know the
do.
winner. Everybody who's
Okay,
participating knows the winner.
my
The
lips are
audience
sealed.
doesn't know the winner. But
No.
let me ask you, of the 64, which of the 64 would you have ranked in the top four? Which do you, if you were to vote alone all the way, which four would you say would make the final four? Because I've asked this question to people a few times.
Okay,
Why
well,
are
my
six?
personal favorites, I mean,
Yes,
the
I
ones
know.
that I
Can I
voted
guess?
for all the way through, as far as they went,
Yeah.
um, The Shawshank Redemption.
Hmm.
I think Gloria is a fantastic movie. I've seen it many times. I mean, Jaws is a classic. You can't really think about movies without thinking about Jaws.
Oh, don't.
Um, I could live without the bloody movies. I don't
Hmm.
think that's a genre that really does much for me personally. Um, I would say Groundhog Day had a big effect on me when that movie came out. I love
Yeah,
a
I kept
funny
wanting to
movie.
watch that movie over and over.
You don't even have to. Um, Tarantino doesn't thrill me, so I wouldn't put him in my personal top four, but I know that there is a sizable
Hmm.
collection of people who think he's a genius, and so I imagine his movies got a lot of votes. I happen to love Mel Brooks,
I
so I
do.
think his movies are pretty great. And then, of course, you know, being someone who grew up in as a teenager in the '80s, the John Hughes category is very popular with me.
Yeah, my daughter and I watched three of those movies like the first weekend she was home from school, and it's just one of the, that's what kind of spurred me on. It's like I could sit here. Is there any of these 64 that you would not would that you've never seen?
Well, there were a couple of categories where I hadn't seen either one,
Oh,
so
okay.
I just kind of picked at random. Um, John Ford being one of them. I had not
Hmm.
seen either of those movies. And I believe there was a Hitchcock. I saw the first two, but the second two Hitchcock I had not seen.
North
I
by
did
Northwest.
then. Hmm?
A lot of people forgetting about North by Northwest.
Yeah, I haven't seen either Vertigo or North by Northwest,
Don't see them
but they're on the
together. You get
list.
really sick.
So yeah, I mean, other than that, I think I had seen most of them except for I didn't see Saw because I don't like to be scared of the movies. Doesn't entertain me at all.
Yeah.
But uh, but
So
yeah.
one of the things I've asked the people to do when they were doing this, not only were they communicating with their family and spouses and et cetera to try to get the answers to it, somebody came back and put some things together. It says, I don't care if movie A is better than movie B. I am at the keyboard. Movie B is better than movie A. Period. Those. So people have been at least entertained to some degree about going through this process of voting. Uh, and then I asked them to at least watch one or two of the movies that they've never seen before. So they've gone out and either rented them and said, listen, I've seen them. And so someone came back and said, thanks for pointing that out. I've never seen it. It
Hmm.
was good. Some people aimed on voting because they said, I didn't see either one of them. So even though we had about 40 people, not all 40 voted on every single category. That it wasn't really fair to vote just for the sake of putting a vote in.
Oh, I totally did that.
I know, I know,
I
I know.
thought it was perfectly fair.
It was fair. I mean, if you don't know the two movies, it's like voting for like, people for office and you have no idea who's running.
Are
Anyway, so let's take a
you
look
calling
at the
me
ground.
irresponsible, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay then.
Uh, so just a couple of quotes before we get into number one. When somebody said, they said, Beetlejuice, 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 where's my cousin Vinny? Somebody
Oh
said,
my gosh.
I don't
Well,
understand
Joe,
why.
I mean, we could spend this entire hour talking about fabulous movies that weren't involved in this bracket, but I mean,
But
there
we're
were
not.
there were hundreds of thousands of movies that are out there, and you can't include them all.
Why wasn't Neely
Where's the
News
Princess
as part?
Bride? Okay,
Wasn't Neely News in there? Why wasn't
right
Princess
there you
Bride?
go.
Why wasn't why
Because it would have
wasn't
been too easy.
it was, so anyway, I just let people I did do another 64, which basically takes the top
You could do 164s.
crazy. All right, so let's look at some of the winners. So let's pop
All
the
right.
winners on for round one, and we have the percentages here. So I don't know if you've got it up on your screen, but I do. It's
I
like
do.
the Wolf of Wall Street beat Casino 56-44. That does that
That's
surprise
pretty
you?
close.
I don't think that surprises you. That's a pretty good one. History of the
Oh,
World
Lee.
Part. What was
Oh,
that?
go ahead.
History of the World Part One beat High Anxiety.
Yeah, by a goodly margin.
That's a good 66-34.
Yeah.
Now this one surprised me a little bit. Caddyshack beat Fletch like 88.
I was not surprised by that, Joe.
That's a big movie. Everyone loves that movie.
Caddyshack has really been brought through the ages, and Fletch kind of didn't come forward with the times.
Agree. Frank Capra's It's a Wonderful Life beat
Oh,
Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Please. I mean, who's going to
A
vote
blowout.
against It's a Wonderful Life?
It's even got its wings too. It's going to the next
There you
round.
go.
Now this one surprised me a little bit. John Hughes, Breakfast Club's Pretty in Pink, 88 to about 12%.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too because I like those movies pretty equally.
Yeah,
But again, I think Breakfast Club is more popular and is still watched more than Pretty in Pink.
I think so. Grapes of Wrath beat The Quiet Man, 65-35.
Yeah, I had nothing to say about that one.
Well, The Quiet Man didn't have much to say either.
I'm with him.
Pulp Fiction beat Inglourious Bastards, 81 to 19%.
And now I agreed with that. But I have seen, well, okay, so I've seen Pulp Fiction, and it was a movie that I really liked the premise of the movie and the story. It was much too violent for my liking. Inglourious Bastards, I couldn't even sit through.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of his movies is you can talk for days about
Yes.
his gratuitous violence that he has. Like, and we'll talk about when we get to Once Upon a Day in Hollywood, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I thought was a great movie up until it got to the point where it got a little over the edge. It's still a good movie, but
same with Kill Bill.
Exactly. So Annie Hall beat Manhattan Murder Mystery 75-25. Now, I'm a personally big Manhattan Murder Mystery fan. I just love that movie. I love Alan Alda. I love the cast. I love Woody in that piece. It's a great movie to go see if you have never seen anything. It's a great picture about New York City, and it does a lot of.
But again, Annie Hall is just one of those all-time classics.
I know. Yeah, la-di-da, la-di-da.
There you go.
La-di-da. Halloween beat Nightmare on Elm Street. Because that's more of a,
that I was kind of surprised by how roundly it beat.
Yeah,
Nightmare. 83 to 17. That's significant.
Yeah. Beetlejuice snipped Edward Scissorhands by
I was sad about that. I love Edward Scissorhands. I think that's a fabulous movie. But
Depp's an interesting actor in
he is, yeah.
There's definitely different in almost everything he does.
Yeah.
Marvel, Iron Man versus Captain America. Now, did that surprise you at all, or no?
No.
I thought that would be a lot closer, personally. I thought Captain America.
Iron Man's got all the gadgets.
True, but Captain America is like the first American hero, like the first one, and
he might just be a little bit too corny and clean cut for people. I don't know.
Oh, one of my favorite movies. Now, I didn't vote at all. I was only able to vote if there was a tie in the tie, and the tiebreaker was most votes prior, and only then would I vote. I didn't vote, so I didn't vote the whole time.
Okay, good for you. That must have been hard.
It was. I had enough trouble picking. But Chinatown versus Rosemary's Baby.
They're such different movies. That was kind of a tough category to vote in because they're very different types of movies.
When I see a movie, I always think of the line from that movie. Like I thought of, okay, I can think of a line from Chinatown, but I can't think of a line from Rosemary's Baby. Chinatown, when Nicholson was up against the fence and Roman Polanski made the cameo, and he comes up to him. Polanski's very short, and Nicholson not that tall either, but they made him look taller. And he puts a knife to his throat, and he goes, "Hey Claude, where'd you get the midget?" And he puts his knife in his nose and slices it off. And the rest of the show, Nicholson's walking around with a bandage around his nose. If you've not seen that movie, I've ruined it for you. You got to go see it. Now, here's a question I've had. Jaws versus Close Encounters. Is Jaws a Memorial Day movie or a 4th of July movie?
Ooh. Is it a Memorial Day movie? I would go probably more with 4th of July.
I watched it around that time frame. Jaws beat Close Encounters 61-39. Do you remember who starred in Close Encounters?
It was Richard Dreyfuss.
Who was one of the stars of Jaws?
Richard Dreyfuss.
There you go.
What do you know about that?
There you go.
He and Spielberg must have been buds.
What? Stanley Kubrick, Shining versus Clockwork Orange.
Ugh. Both movies that I can live without.
Now, The Shining.
Now, Clockwork Orange is another movie that I could not watch the whole thing. I watched
Well,
the first part of it, and I just couldn't take it.
I had to leave right after they knocked on the door.
Yeah.
Pretty much that kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah.
And then The Shining, I liked it. It's funny. It's like there's a lot of memes. Is that the right way to say that word?
Yes, memes.
That are going out there with the little family pictures. Go, how bad can it be if we're just?
Yes, I've seen those.
Okay, Hitchcock. Let's go to Hitchcock. Bird versus Psycho. Very close. One vote
Yes.
separated
Those
the
are both
two.
great movies. I have seen both of those ones.
Tippi Hedren in The Birds and Janet Leigh in Psycho. I kind of was rooting for Psycho there, but it didn't come through. I think
They were
Psycho
close. It was
one of
close.
the best movies ever. Denzel was Glory Day versus Training. Glory versus Training Day.
Yeah.
That's the group one. Group
There we
two,
go.
Good Will Hunting versus Dead Poet Society.
Oh, Good Will Hunting all the way.
It won big, 73
It
27.
did.
Tom Hanks, Forrest versus Philly.
Now that one I had to vote for Forrest Gump because I actually have not seen Philadelphia.
It's a good movie. Very.
I've heard it's fantastic, but I have not actually seen it with my own eyes.
No chocolates in that movie at all.
No, much tougher subject matter there.
Martin Scorsese 2, Goodfellas versus The Departed.
Yeah.
Big. I thought The Goodfellas was good. We literally, my son was home and we just watched that. He never saw it before.
Oh yeah, that's a good movie.
Goodfellas. Blazing Saddles beat Young Frankenstein. That was bigger, I thought. I'm a big Blazing Saddles fan over Young Frankenstein. I like them both, but I love them.
Yeah. I don't think I have a favorite between the two of those.
I'm surprised that Dirty Harry did not beat Good, the Bad, the
It
Ugly.
was another close call though. I mean, 48 to 52. That's,
One vote.
like one vote here or there.
Here or there. Just kind of throws it. Bill Murray, Groundhog Day beat Stripes.
Yeah.
Ferris Bueller beat Home Alone.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, that's a pretty classic
Yeah.
movie. Kill Bill versus Once Upon a Time. I was surprised with that. I enjoyed that movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, so much more than any of his other movies, I think.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. I did see Kill Bill, and like I said, I liked it, except for the fact that I just don't understand the excessive violence in those movies.
There's certain points he just goes and says, I can do this because my film, I can do what I want.
I guess, yeah. And I guess it's now his style, right? So he has to keep it up.
Threw it in there. And actually, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood didn't have anything until near the third hour of the movie. Scarface versus Carrie. Scarface beats up on Carrie there.
Yeah.
Sleeper, no longer a sleeper, beats Manhattan. Now, Shawshank, big numbers, 84 to 16.
Man,
That was not
one
a
of the
surprise.
best movies of all time.
Rain Man crushed Midnight Cowboy. I don't think Midnight Cowboy gets to do because I don't think people know. Remember the song from that movie? Do you remember the movie at all?
Midnight Cowboy?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
It's Everybody's Talking at Me. Nielsen.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
When did Midnight Cowboy come out?
Oh, I would think. I'm not even Googling. I'm thinking late 60s.
Yeah, because it was before my
early 70s.
movie going days.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to, I don't know what the age range was of the people who were involved in this voting, but I'm wondering if a lot of them hadn't seen Midnight Cowboy because it was a much older movie than Rain Man.
Well, they're thinking they got to watch it at midnight to watch it. I don't know. Friday the 13th chops up Saw.
Yes, indeed.
67-33. Now, this one surprised me. Thor beat Spider-Man 66-34. Thor got a lot of votes there.
It sure did.
And
I think there's just been too many Spider-Mans. People are confused.
I had to put the Tobey Maguire bracket in there, let them know who it was. And we could probably do a bracket of 64 of just Spider-Man movies.
Just Spider-Man, exactly.
Raiders versus E.T.
Yeah, no contest there, huh?
No, E.T. was phoned home and sent home quickly after round one. And the last matchup for Hitchcock was North by Northwest beat Vertigo. I think most of these people were guessing at the time because I don't think a lot of
that would have been
saw
me.
either one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we go. So round two matchups. We see now we got the 32.
So now this is where things started to get a little weird, Joe.
Now because now the genres are all gone. We're kind of mismatching people.
Just kind of random pairings.
We took the pairings. If you look at the brackets, the way the brackets were, the winner of the prior one matches the next one. So,
right.
So we got a couple of interesting matchups. Halloween versus Beetlejuice.
Yes. That kind of makes sense.
I'll read the left side if you were to read the right side. Halloween,
Got it.
Beetlejuice, Iron Man versus Chinatown,
Mm-hmm.
Jaws versus The Shining, The Birds versus Glory, Scarface versus Sleeper, Shawshank Redemption versus Rain Man, Friday the 13th versus Thor, and Raiders of the Lost Ark versus North by Northwest.
All right.
First section of the bracket.
And then we had The Wolf of Wall Street up against History of the World Part 1. Caddyshack went up against It's a Wonderful Life. Breakfast Club versus The Grapes of Wrath. Pulp Fiction with Annie Hall. That's kind of a weird pairing right there.
Mm-hmm.
Good Will Hunting and Forrest Gump. I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Goodfellas with Blazing Saddles. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly went with Groundhog Day. Ferris Bueller faced off against Kill Bill Volume 1.
Okay, so let's take a look at the results of that round and see who emerged as the victorious movie in each bracket. And we've got, oh my goodness gracious, Beetlejuice beat Halloween 71-29.
Very handy.
Iron Man beat Chinatown by the same score.
Which was a little odd.
Oh, this was interesting. Jaws beat The Shining 65-35.
Yeah, I think why, Joe? You can watch Jaws over and over and over again, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The Shining, it's like you can't watch it as frequently.
Right.
You need some recovery time.
Every 13 years, maybe.
Exactly.
Interesting one. The Birds makes it a next. See, that's one of the older movies that came out. The Birds beat Glory.
That
That was a
surprised me
favorite.
because
That was a
I definitely
favorite.
voted the other way on that one.
Yeah, I did not know. I did not know who was going to win that. If I was betting, I would have said Glory would have beat The Bird.
Yeah.
Scarface beat The Sleeper 81-19. That was a thumping. And here's one of your favorites. Shawshank beat Rayman.
Came in strong.
Thor beat Friday the 13th. And Raiders beat North by Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
Left side
right.
of the bracket. Read the right side. Who won where?
Got
Who
it.
won
So, History of the World Part 1 got rid of The Wolf of Wall Street. Not by a whole lot.
Oh,
It's a Wonderful Life took out Caddyshack.
that's a tough bracket. That's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. The Breakfast Club sent The Grapes of Wrath running.
Out of there.
Pulp Fiction made a very nice victory against Annie Hall. Good Will Hunting was left behind by Forrest Gump.
Was it at the bus stop? Was it at the bus stop?
Blazing Saddles won over Goodfellas. Groundhog Day beat out The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And Ferris Bueller gave Kill Bill a sound thrashing.
Wow. People enjoyed him taking the day off than getting the revenge on everybody on the planet.
Now that we have so many days off ourselves.
Yeah. Let's see if I get any quotes there. There's some quotes here that I got to read later because it's giving away some of the answers.
Don't give anything away, Joe.
Don't give anything away.
People are hanging on by their fingernails. They can't wait to see what happens next.
I will say somebody did say if Pulp Fiction wins, we'll no longer be able to go out of the house. Oh, wait, never mind. We won't say who said that, right, Arnie? So Sweet 16 matchups. All right, so we got 16 left.
Yeah.
Sweet 16. Now, is anything surprise you here? Is that made it?
In the way you matched them up?
Well, I matched them up based upon, if you notice,
the brackets,
the winners by the brackets. So, like,
yeah.
the winner of Beetlejuice would be against Iron Man. So, if you notice, they're basically matched that way. But anything that got here that you think of these 16 movies, you think that one is surprised to be here in the 16?
No, I thought this was a pretty solid collection. I thought people picked some really strong movies at this point.
I was surprised The Birds made it, but I like that movie, so I think that I was happy to see it. There's nothing in here that I wouldn't say. Thor, I was a little surprised, but I think it beat Friday the 13th, so I could understand it and how it got there.
Right.
But not necessarily. There were probably other movies that lost in the prior round that I would have taken over both The Birds and
Agreed.
The brackets.
Yeah, Blazing Saddles too. I don't know that that's like as solid a movie as some of these others are.
Yeah. And I don't think they could make Blazing Saddles today.
No, they wouldn't get away with it.
I don't think they could get away with any of the
anything.
Pretty much the entire movie.
It would enrage people. Yes.
All right, let's see the winners. Let's go. You want to take a shot at who the winners are on the left side?
All right. You mean who are
The
in the bracket
winners,
for the Sweet
yeah,
16?
the winners of Beetlejuice versus Iron Man.
So wait, hold on.
To the
Scrolling
next
down. Sweet 16 results. Here we go.
thing results.
All right. So Iron Man beat out Beetlejuice 58-42, another close contest.
Mm-hmm.
Jaws took out the birds quite handily.
Mm-hmm.
Shawshank Redemption got rid of Scarface. And Raiders of the Lost Ark won very nicely against Thor.
If you look at that whole section, I mean, Jaws 82, Shawshank 79, and Raiders 82, they were thumpings. A lot of
Yeah,
people went that direction. That's why I was
yeah.
surprised. Like, Beetlejuice was close, but I still think I don't know, Beetlejuice versus Iron Man. That's a tough one.
It's a tough one. It is. I agree.
Different movies. It's
Very
tough to pick
different.
the different.
But they both have a whole lot going on. There's a lot of complexity to them, and I had a hard time choosing between those two.
All right, so let's see. Those made the Elite Eight. So on the other side of the bracket, we've got It's a Wonderful Life beating up on History of the World Part 1,
Mm-hmm.
139. Now, did you ever see the end of History of the World Part 1 when they did uh, the uh, the preview for History of the World Part 2, which they've never made? Where
I
they
think I
did,
did, but it was years and years ago. I don't remember it.
yeah, they did. The end of the movie, they did, okay, History of the World Part 2 coming up. Hitler on Ice. Where they had Hitler
Yes,
play.
that's right. That's
So
right.
to me, I'm still waiting for History of the World Part 2 to be made.
Could
Maybe that'll
happen.
make the brackets next time. But It's a Wonderful Life, and Jimmy and Donna beat
Yeah.
up on Mel. Fiction, very close versus The Breakfast Club.
Almost lost out to the Brat Pack.
That was unbelievable. And then Forrest Gump beat up on Blazing Saddles. Tough bracket for Mel Brooks here. History of the
That's
World
true.
and Blazing both go out the window. And the last one was Ferris Bueller's 67 versus Groundhog Day, 67 versus.
Yeah, that one surprised me a little bit, but
You know, I don't know what the thing was. Somebody was saying something about, I could maybe say, said something about, okay, so we can talk about this one. So this is where we got to. So one of my friends came in and says, no offense, as I know these people are your friends, but they know jack about movies. Personally, I like Captain America, but I figured losing out to Iron Man was going to happen. But the Birds over Psycho, that's ridiculous. Groundhog Day over Stripes, for ludicrous. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly over Dirty Harry, it's a joke. And Thor over Spider-Man, come on. These guys are, I won't mention.
wow, that's a very opinionated person.
Very opinionated person. They won't mention his name, but you know who it is. You're watching, you know who you are.
You can tell me later.
I will. So those are the Elite Eight. So here are the matchups for the Elite Eight. And we got little pictures here. I don't know.
I know, this is so fancy.
We've got Jaws versus Iron Man.
Mm.
Shawshank versus Indiana Jones. The Wonderful Life versus Pulp Fiction. And Forrest Gump versus Ferris Bueller. Anything.
Getting serious now, Joe.
This is the Big Eight. Now I could watch any one of these movies at any time. And have you seen all eight?
I have.
And if you personally, you know the winner, but if you personally would pick any one of these eight, which one would you pick? And I know which would it would be.
I think I would go with Shawshank Redemption.
And is that because you think it's the best movie, or you think it's the movie you could watch any given time at any time if it's on TV?
Well, that and It's a Wonderful Life. I could watch either of those over
Anytime.
and over and over.
You know, I keep watching It's a Wonderful Life, and I personally think that one day Cousin Billy will not hand the money over to Potter.
I keep hoping. He's
getting cocky, put the money in the newspaper, fold it up, whacked him in the thing, and gave it to him. Yeah. And he walks away. But he still had the thing on his finger. Which was
That's right.
He knew he was forgetting something.
Oh, man.
Favorite scene? Well, actually, I was going to talk about that in the final four. Your favorite scene in each of the movies, because you've seen all eight.
I have. And not some of them not so recently.
Okay.
And I don't have the memory for dialogue that you have.
Okay.
As you know from acting with me and suffering through me not knowing my lines.
Anyway. Well, Jaws. Any favorite part of Jaws?
Ooh, Jaws. Well, of course, I love the part where they finally, take care of the shark
Hmm.
and they get to celebrate. Um, but I also like the scene where the captain is ranting and raving
What
and
is he not?
losing his mind.
Yeah. The two things in Jaws that stick out for me. One is as an actor, I just love the scene in which they're sitting in the boat and he's telling them about the USS Indiana. And talking about like I wrote it down. I don't know the lines, but it's Robert Shaw telling them about how he spied all the sharks coming up and killing them and all the men
Mm,
around. And then
yeah, yeah.
this phenomenal scene, and they did that in one take. That whole thing was done in one take. And then the only other part of Jaws that I refuse to believe is that Pippin is really swimming away somewhere else because he didn't go. Dog and uh, Iron Man. I don't remember anything specifically about that
No, and
other
there's been so
than
many of them now that
yeah,
I have them all mixed up in my mind.
yeah, it all blurs in there. It's the one with Robert Downey Jr.
That guy, yeah, with the glowing thing in his chest.
Exactly. Exactly. Shawshank. What's your favorite part of Shawshank?
Oh, well, I mean, the escape scene,
Mm.
where he swims out through the sewage and he comes up in the river and is like cleansed and just trudging through. Oh, that scene always gets me emotional.
Mm.
Um,
I would agree.
yeah.
I like the conversations that he had with
I was
Morgan
about to
Freeman.
say any conversation between the
The
two of
two.
them.
Like it's like gold, gold,
Yeah.
gold. Raiders.
Raiders. Um, so I mean,
Yes.
Raiders has so many moments that are sort of, they sort of stand out in your mind. So some
Mhm.
comic moments. But I can't say there's a particular scene that I remember super clearly. I haven't seen that movie in many years. And it's not one of the ones that frankly I voted for all the way along. So
Mhm. I mean, I just find he just hates snakes. It's a
yeah.
great. I think it's a classic just to watch, and you can watch it at any time, and anytime it's on, I just sit and watch it. It's a Wonderful Life and Pulp. I went for my It's a Wonderful Life that Billy doesn't give that away.
Yeah.
Pulp for me is an interesting movie, but I like the out of sequence work that one person could be in the movie and then no longer alive and then still be in the movie doing something else earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
It always intrigued me the way that was kind of done.
Yeah, that always kind of drives me crazy because I don't think I'm smart enough to keep up with those storylines. I get
Didn't so and
confused.
so just get killed, and how
I'm
does he
like, wait a
still?
minute, that guy's dead.
How did he just got killed? And the Royale with cheese.
Ah,
How they say cheeseburger in France.
do you know what I love about It's a Wonderful Life? The scene,
What?
the honeymoon,
Oh, whoa,
where they
whoa.
move into that house that's like falling down around them, and Ernie and Bert are outside like singing and serenading them, and he's got the posters up, and love that.
And you know where Sesame Street got Bert and Ernie from?
I sure do.
There you go. From this movie. One of my favorite things. I say it every year to the kids, and they go, "Dad, you say that every year for crying out loud. Now you put it on TV." Forrest Gump versus Ferris. My recollection of Ferris is more of the watching it for the first time, thinking, "Wow, this kid is cool. This kid's like
Yes.
he's getting away with everything," and he's just
Yeah.
running and running and running when he was running back home.
And the scenes with the sister, she was so funny.
And you know who she was or
Jennifer
is?
Grey.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
in Dirty Dancing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Meets
She
it.
was just great as like the sister who just feels like he's so cocky and spoiled and gets away with everything, and she's just foiled all the time. And
Yep.
and of course the principal
Mhm. Oh yeah, yeah.
coming to
Is
the
that
house and
is that
getting
Ed
attacked
Rooney?
by the dog. And
Oh my goodness gracious!
yeah.
And that's the one with Charlie Sheen in it. Is
Which
that the
one?
one with Charlie Sheen in the place where
Yes,
when
Charlie
Jennifer
Sheen plays
Grey
the bad
gets?
guy in the bad boy.
Did you ever see the Goldbergs? He made a cameo in the Goldbergs. He says, "I'm still in here waiting to get seen."
I did not see that.
And then Tom Hanks and Forrest Gump. took me a while to like that movie. Like the first time I watched it, I was like,
Yeah, it didn't affect me the way I thought it would. I mean, it was presented as such a like life-changing event, and I really enjoyed it, but I didn't find it to be quite as phenomenal as others had.
I find sometimes a movie, when someone tells me, you gotta go, this is great, you gotta go.
Yeah.
And then the buildup is there and you watch and you're like, There are
Yeah.
other movies like the other ones that I've seen, like I'd never seen before, and oh, this is great. I'm the one telling you gotta go. All right, let's see the results. Who makes the final four here? And let's see
All
what the
right.
scores are. Whoa. That Jaws beats up Iron Man 67-33.
Yeah, I was surprised by that, I have to say.
And Pulp beat Wonderful Life 58-42. I was
Yeah, that
surprised.
made me very sad.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that. And the other one too is Forrest beats Ferris 61-39. That one surprised me.
Yeah.
And I was also surprised by Raiders beating Shawshank by a vote.
By one vote,
By
yeah.
one vote.
That was another one that kind of saddened me because I personally feel like Shawshank is a stronger movie than Raiders, but Raiders is a classic, so there we go.
So if I went into this round of Elite Eight, I would have said that Jaws, Shawshank, Ferris, and It's a Wonderful Life would come out. It did, and I got 3 out of the 4 wrong. That's why I don't do the brackets. Okay.
Who knew?
All right, let's see.
Yeah.
So let's see. And so who made the final four? So it was Jaws against Raiders. So we have a Spielberg off right there, both of them from Spielberg, and Pulp against Forrest.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Those two are tough.
Not for me.
What did you vote for these four? What did you vote?
So I voted Forrest Gump and Raiders.
So you did Forrest Gump and Raiders.
I believe I did. Yeah.
I would have taken Raiders versus Jaws was tough for me. I would have gone. Ooh. See, I've seen Jaws more, so I'm going to go Jaws against Pulp. What I would have picked.
Yeah, I guess I'm not positive that I went Raiders versus Jaws. I don't honestly remember. I definitely voted for Forrest over Pulp. I know that much.
Yes.
But yeah, Raiders and Jaws is kind of a tie for me.
Let's see who made the final 2 out of this 4. And the winner is Raiders big over Jaws, 63-37.
Yeah. Took them out.
Beat Forrest by one
vote. That one vote.
One vote.
Yeah.
That was a tie there.
This is where I started biting my nails, Joe.
I know.
Because I was with that other person. If Pulp Fiction is going to win this thing, I'm not happy.
And look what happened. The finals are Raiders versus Pulp. So you want to leave now, or you want to tell them who won the event?
Oh.
The winner.
Nerve-wracking.
Raiders versus Pulp by a 63-37 margin.
It is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
And some statistics about Raiders. First of all, Raiders was released in June of 1981. Obviously, the director was Steven Spielberg. At the time, the gross revenue was $390 million, making it in the top 10.
I wonder what that would be in today's dollars, Joe.
About, today, like after today's market, probably about 10 bucks.
How about pre-COVID-19 dollars?
Probably around, $750 billion, because we're talking 40 years ago this was released.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
The music was once again done by the great John Williams, written by 2 great writers, George Lucas and Lawrence Kasdan.
Yep.
One of my favorite things Lawrence Kasdan did was The Big Chill.
Oh, that's right. And it won a whole bunch of Academy Awards.
It won 5, which it was funny was what did they win? What categories did it win?
They won a Special Achievement Academy Award. Wonder what that was for.
They achieved something special.
They did something special. They had Best Visual Effects, Best Sound Mixing, Best Production Design, I'm not sure what that is either, and Best Film Editing.
Awesome. So that was a really, really fun way to go. But I had fun doing it. Hopefully people had fun participating in it.
It was a really nice distraction.
Kept us a little sane every night. I would hound people and say vote. When the votes got lower and lower.
We missed those emails, Joe.
I do it 11, 12 o'clock at night. You vote. Get the vote in before midnight. Get the vote in before midnight.
Vote or I'm going to vote for you.
So here are some quotes from some people who went through the process. A lot of them thanked me very much for putting it all together.
But of course.
all that stuff. I got a lot of that. But the funny ones that I thought was cute was anyone who thinks Jaws is a better movie than Shawshank, vacation on Amity Island and wear earplugs, and when they swim, they don't hear the music. I said the one about Pulp Fiction wins. I'll no longer be able to go out of the house. Oh, wait, never mind. Somebody wrote, very tough choice. Pulp Fiction is one of the coolest, most original movies of all time. But Raiders redefined the action movie genre and also had 3 great sequels. So they were going with Raiders. Of course, the actual best movie of all time is The Godfather, which wasn't in the brackets. I know, I told you why. There's always a critic everywhere. And one was saying, as if cooped up in a house wasn't stressful enough, now my husband and I have to argue about whether Thor is better than Raiders. I won. Or if you don't care to think that Thor is better than Raiders, I'm at the keyboard. Raiders is officially better than Thor. See, it's in the final.
There you go. Who has the power?
See, no offense, as I know, yeah, I did that one. Oh, this is a tough one. It's an abomination that It's a Wonderful Life was even in the tournament.
What?
Let alone make it to the Elite 8. There are a dozen of other Christmas movies that I would have chosen instead. For example, any Christmas Carol or Scrooge movie would have been a significant improvement, even the Mr. Magoo version. So someone is definitely not a very happy camper.
Is that same really opinionated person, Joe?
No, different people. These are all
a different really opinionated person.
Different, very.
Well, you should tell them they should set up their own brackets if they want to choose the movies.
Oh no, I think they don't mind what was chosen. Well, actually, right, the movie, but he was surprised that the movie made it far. Wow. I think it's an all-time classic.
Too darn bad.
No, and then
they show it on television every year for a reason.
Yeah, I know, and it's oddly enough, it's right around Christmas time.
It's so funny how they do that.
And then the last one here, it comforts me to know that my cohorts do not share the burden of taste.
Oh.
So there's some people here who are not that thrilled with the results, but you know what? I look at it this way. Everyone has a vote. They can go out and vote for whatever they want, just long as they have to live with it. They may have to live with it for a long time. We don't.
So Joe.
Yes.
March is over.
Yes.
We have determined the top movie in the 64. What's next? It's April now.
April. How about April Absurdity?
April Absurdity. I like it.
Yeah, so, and I actually had to look for
the world is an absurdity at this point.
Synonym for madness came up absurdity.
I get it.
So doing the alliteration.
The alliteration totally works.
So I figured we have a lot more time. And our new slogan now is May the 4th be with you.
Yes.
That's our new date for greatness. We have a lot of time to kill between now and then. So I'm creating a bracket of 128 of the top TV shows of all time.
Oh boy.
That'll keep people busy for quite some time. So I'm going to be sending that out over the weekend. And what Allison's going to do is put out the fact that we're going to put our email, ashlandcommunitytheater@gmail.com. If you're interested in participating in this.
Which is going to be after watching the show, Joe.
And vote it, right? And vote for your favorite TV shows in the brackets. We'll get you back and forth. Hopefully we'll get more than 40 people this time. I'm hoping to get.
I would think so. If you're going to put it out there for the public, Joe, we're going to get many.
And our friend Patty O'Neill is going to publicize it on Facebook because she really had a fun time doing all of this.
Great.
She had a couple of nice quotes about life in general. Sometimes if you pray for rain, you got to deal with the mud.
That's very true. That is
saying so we're in a little bit of our mud point right now, but I think when that rain goes away and the sun comes back out and people are out there again, we'll have some fun. But so 2 things we're going to do, and we're going to do the 128, and then we're going to do a show next week, hopefully, and you're going to be part of it.
I am. That's the plan.
We're going to be doing short scenes, which we're going to entertain the audience. We're going to revisit some of our favorites. We're going to do The Bartender and the Girl from Muncie. And we're going to rehearse a little bit tonight.
Which I'm really interested to figure out how we're doing that, Joe.
We're just going to have
virtual
on the screen,
social distancing stuff.
It's more about the delivery than anything. But also keep people who want to be acting, want to do some things kind of active and online and communicating with each other. So it's partly for us, but it's also partly for the audience.
It's for everybody.
It's for everybody.
All for one. One for all.
Wanted to thank you very much for coming out of your hibernation
Thanks for
and
inviting me.
voting.
Yeah, it was fun.
And we'll hopefully get the 128 out next week and have it a great show. So we just ended our 55th episode of Behind the Curtain.
55. 5 and a 5.
So thank you very much. Appreciate you participating and giving your feedback on the movies. And
My pleasure.
everyone go home and watch Raiders of the Lost Ark tonight and enjoy it.
All right.
Thank you,
Take it
everybody.
easy.
Enjoy. We'll be safe out there, and we'll see you in a
Be
week or
safe
so
at
when we're
home.
doing our next show.
Stay home.
Stay at home. Watch this over and over again.
Bye, Joe.
Bye.